Man, imagine, man, you're walking outside of your house, headed to your vehicle. Man, you open the door, and just when you get ready to get in, you hear, hey, give me all your money, give me your keys. What are you gonna do in that moment? Man, in today's video, I wanna talk to you about should you carry one in the chamber? Let's talk about it.
A Houston man just taking out the trash is held up at gunpoint.
Yes.
The shocking thing for this victim, this happened in the middle of the day, right before kids down the street would have been getting out from school. The victim says he was just getting off work and thinks he was followed.
As I got out of the car, I went maybe about 4 or 5 feet, went to throw something away.
This man asked us not to show his face, but his home surveillance cameras tell the story.
Came up on me with a loaded 9mm gun with an extended clip, probably at least 40 bullets or so.
He was taking out the trash when he was robbed in his driveway.
Shouted, give me your keys, you know. Kept my hands up, tried to stay as calm as possible.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room, you can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave like everyone else. You were born into bondage. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
All praise to the Most High Yah Shalom. Thank you for tuning in to another Righteous Ruach Spirit-filled episode. Today I'm back at it in them trenches, handling that kingdom business. You know, man, this is a controversial topic. And man, I want to give you some real world insight, you know, a realistic approach and some statistics coming from actual scenarios of self-defense. You know, I don't care whether you're out and about doing some shopping, going to the bank and things like this. Man, criminals are looking to catch you off guard. And one way they're going to catch you off guard is you thinking that you will have time to rack the slide and get a shot off. And the reality is most people don't train enough for actual self-defense shootings. They're too busy tricking out firearms, you know, getting all the latest gadgets, bedazzling their firearms, and they haven't done, you know, any realistic training beyond maybe 5 to 10 rounds, you know, when they first bought their firearm or handgun at a shooting range. Beyond that, they've gone years, months without doing any training. And man, that leaves you ineffective and also puts you in a very dangerous situation. But before I dive any deeper and break this topic down of should you carry one in the chamber, man, I need every man out there, you know, to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're serious about your journey of being a set-apart man. Turn your notifications on, set them to all notifications. That way you don't miss a single video. And then lastly, man, drop your answer down in the comments to this question. Let me know your personal opinion, your personal feelings. Should you carry one in the chamber? What do you do? Man, let's start the dialogue. Okay, man, let me give you some statistics to help lay the foundation. You know, most self-defense shootings occur between 3 and 7 yards. You know, with on average, a lot of them occurring in the 3 to 4 yard range. What that means is that is 9 to 12 feet distance on average. That is not a lot of distance. That is like within less than a second, y'all can be in a physical altercation real quick. That's not a lot of distance to cover. Okay, man, the FBI reports most self-defense shootings, you know, only 2 to 3 rounds are shot off. Okay, let's keep adding facts on top of this. Man, your average self-defense shooting lasts between 2 to 3 seconds. 2 to 3 seconds. That is not a lot of time. What I want men to understand is, man, you may think that when you encounter a situation where you're going to have to, you know, brandish your firearm, pull out your firearm, you know, you don't have all this time that you think to be John Wick, to be Mission Impossible, to be James Bond. Leave that stuff for the movies, because the reality is your average self-defense shooting lasts anywhere between 2 and 5 seconds. Man, let's stop for a moment and let's see how fast 2 seconds is. 1, 2. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Man, that is somebody trying to knock your head off. That is somebody trying to cause bodily harm for you, trying to take your personal belongings, end your life. That's not a lot of time to defend yourself. So I want you to think about those things when you're asking yourself and telling yourself, I don't need to carry one in the chamber because it's unsafe. It's unsafe not having one in the chamber. Man, anytime I've been on a deployment, where we were in hostile territories, man, we always carried one in the chamber. You were always on ready, always ready to go, because your first instinct when it goes down is going to be a fire a round off. And you know what's going to happen? When you're thinking about a rifle or a pistol, when you think about this, man, your firing pin doesn't have anything to set off, to discharge. So you're going to hear that firing pin and you're going to hear that click, letting you know that you don't have no round coming out the chamber. And by that time, you're trying to figure this out, and you've got somebody violently putting their hands on you because you pulled out a firearm that's about as useless as a hammer at this point in time, and they're trying to get that firearm from you. You're unprepared. Man, the first reason why you should carry one in the chamber, I get it. You may not be up to the level of proficiency to carry one in the chamber. You need to get there. You need to get there quick, fast, and in a hurry. Do some dry runs, do some drills, but you need to get there. Okay? The first reason why you should carry one in the chamber is faster response times. You only got, 2 to 5 seconds to respond or react to a threat. And here you are thinking you're going to be able to do this John Wick draw. You're going to be able to, rack the slide, load one in there, and then discharge a round while somebody's aggressing towards you. Reason number 2, one-handed operation. 2 to 3 seconds is not a long time. 2 seconds, when you think about 1, 2, that's somebody 9 feet away from you, close proximity. 1 second, they're already on you. You should be having your hand on your firearm, ready to draw one, point to the body, and let it off. You don't have time to rack the slide with your other hand if you're trying to keep them at distance or stop them from causing bodily harm to you. You don't have time to have both hands, tied up on the weapon system, trying to charge the slide back, trying to rack one and load one in the chamber. Reason number 3, full ammo capacity. I am a fan of semi-automatic pistols, handguns, but I'm also a fan of hammerless revolvers, because a hammerless revolver, man, I can put that in a pocket. I can wear this in a jacket, and there's nothing for the handgun to malfunction on, to catch on. It's going to send one out the barrel every time with a hammerless revolver. But when you think about these firearms, when you're buying them, when you think about carrying the full capacity, let's say you're in a situation where the average self-defense shooting doesn't apply to you. That 2 to 5 seconds is already going out, and you need that additional round capacity. When you're looking at firearms, it tells you 10 plus 1, 12 plus 1, 14 plus 1, 17 plus 1. That plus 1 is round in the chamber. And that one round in the chamber might be the difference between you living and you dying. That might be the difference between you neutralizing a threat and that threat causing a lot of damage to you, a lot of bodily harm to you. Man, you don't have a lot of time in these situations. I can tell you from being in Afghanistan and Iraq, You know, when bullets get flying, when threats come about, all of this time that you think you have, man, it goes out the window. And you're relying on training and muscle memory. You're in fight or flight mode. And most people, what they'll do is they'll try to draw their firearm thinking they got time to rack one, and you don't. You don't. By that time, somebody then took your handgun and is trying to rack one, and you're fighting for your life. I'm talking about a true scuffle because you chose not to train, to be proficient, to have one in the chamber. You have to think about it, man. If I'm on my homestead working where nobody ever rolls up on me, but I'm carrying my firearm because what if a coyote or something comes up on me? You know, I want to shoot a snake or whatever it is. That's a situation where I've got plenty time to react and respond. But when I'm out and about in town with my family, precious cargo, my wife, you know, my 2 daughters, my 2 sons, man, no. Nope. I want to be able to send one out that barrel as fast as possible and neutralize the threat. If that's because man, you don't have a whole lot of time to try to negotiate and, well, I got my gun, but I don't have one in the chamber, and let's work a deal out, and I won't shoot you because if I had one in the chamber, I would have shot you already. You don't have time to do all that. You know, who's to say you're going to be afforded 2 seconds? Who's to say that even though they occur between 19 and 21 feet, somebody isn't right up on you and put their hands on your shoulder? You got to think, man, oftentimes if I'm carrying my firearm in my pocket, I'm going to give an example, a bodyguard 380. If I'm carrying it in my pocket, my back pocket, somebody rolls up on me and says, hey, give me your wallet. If I've got one in the chamber, I can say, hold on, I'm grabbing my wallet. Let me reach and grab it. And I'm pulling it out. And before they know it, I'm already squeezing that trigger, letting it loose in them with my Smith & Wesson bodyguard. Now, if I got one hand up in the air and I got to pull this firearm out, and you think somebody's going to let you, a criminal's going to let you take your other hand and rack it and do all that, man, you out of your mind. You're out of your mind. It's not going to play out like that. You should always carry one in the chamber. If you are not proficient enough and you haven't done the training, that's a different conversation. But for your life's sake, you know, for protection of yourself and your family, you need to be ready. Criminals is ready. They're not rolling up on you saying, hey, give me all your money. Let me load my magazine. Let me charge one. You know, they're not going through all of that. No, they're rolling with one in the chamber. And you got to think, if they're prepared to get busy, you definitely need to be prepared to get busy. Your life depends on it. Once again, this is the Set Apart Man, kicking that thing gun barrel straight. Until next time, stay set apart, stay disciplined, stay in that word of the Most High Yahweh. Pow.